Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us. This morning I have Anton Ginzburg with me, who's assistant professor at KU Leuven University, which is just to the east of Brussels. And Anton has kindly agreed to chair a session on recycling at this year's PEFTEC, which takes place. He will actually be chairing a session on day 2, which is the 25th of November. And of course, PEFTEC this year will be virtual because of COVID reasons. So everything will be online and it'll be free to enter. But I thought, Anton, it would be good if you could start by very briefly explaining why the subject of recycling was chosen for this particular session.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Graham, for the nice introduction. Well, I think plastic recycling is a rather new topic for PEFTEC conferences, but we all hear these days about the importance of solving the plastic waste issue, because clearly the issue is there. And well, we use polymers, plastics in a variety of applications daily, right? And we created that issue ourselves in a way. Yeah, so we have a lot of so-called post-consumer waste or recyclate that we need to actually find solutions for, and those solutions are not so trivial for a number of fundamental as well as social reasons. Yeah, so I guess on the conference we'll focus more about fundamentals, things that need to be done with plastics so that we can recycle them. And in the session that I'll be chairing, we will cover well, 2 typical approaches that are so-called mechanical recycling and chemical recycling, and both of them, they have pros and cons, and we will look into that. So, but definitely this is a very hot topic, and that requires adequate solutions, and that's why we put it on the conference agenda this year.
Sure. And of course, analysis has a key role in figuring out how to recycle plastic waste. So I guess some of the speakers will be addressing the various techniques that are available. But I see you have a keynote speaker who's going to give a more general presentation, and I was interested to see in her abstract that she includes the whole value chain from design all the way through to hopefully recycling. And could you give us a very brief description of the presentations that will be conducted in the session?
So I'll first get started with the keynote speaker. We have a great keynote speaker from the industry, Maria Sullivan. She's currently holding a research fellow position at SABIC. Yeah, a huge giant petrochemical company. So just for that reason, Maria is a great speaker to give us an overview of the current challenges, and also, I guess, some existing solutions to the problem. Maria has many years of experience in working for petrochemical industry, and she held a number of different roles within the company, both technical, so research oriented, as well as managerial. So with all that, she has a very good overview of the field, and I'm sure she will provide us with a lot of interesting insights into the current challenges. Yeah, so I think talking about the plastic waste issue, it's the best to talk to the plastic producers at first instance, because these guys at the end of the day are the ones producing the polymers that later on end up in the plastic waste streams. So from that point of view, I think it's going to be a very exciting talk, and I recommend everyone to follow that.
Sure. And then I believe the subsequent speakers will be describing various analytical techniques that can be employed.
Yes, correct. So the main problem associated with the plastic waste is that we talk about mixed waste. So if you look at it from the molecular perspective, you would find many different polymers in there, and for that reason, the recycling strategies are actually severely impeded if you would just like to reuse the waste for the same application as, for instance, the virgin materials. Yeah. So, but unfortunately, this is very difficult, and therefore analytical methods are so needed and so relevant for this research. Yeah, simply speaking, you need to understand the complexity of the mixture that you deal with, and that will later on define the strategies for the successful recycling. Whether we can do the mechanical recycling, or maybe we conclude that the waste stream is that contaminated, so we would need to just destroy the polymer chains and do the so-called pyrolysis, or what is more commonly called chemical recycling. Yeah, so we have several great speakers from the industry in that session. They will be talking about several analytical techniques, such as gas chromatography, with different detection principles downstream, but also multi-dimensional separation techniques. For instance, the comprehensive gas chromatography, GC, coupled to a number of detectors as well. So that will be a very, very exciting session, and we will hear about analysis of the pyrolysis oil. Yeah, so the one of the intermediate products in chemical recycling step. We would look into analysis of the compounds that are responsible for odor, or typically if you look into the waste, we talk about bad odor that needs to be eliminated. Yeah, and then overall we would go through several possibilities to analyze the molecular complexity of the waste stream, and what we can do with that, and clearly there are many developments going around across the globe, but there are not yet readily available solutions. So and that's what makes our session even more exciting, I think. Yeah, because we would hear about the state-of-the-art developments from the industrial players, and that's going to be very interesting for a broad audience.
Sure. And of course, with more and more organizations seeking to create a circular economy, achieve sustainable development goals, and with the COP26 conference just around the corner, it couldn't be more relevant. So that sounds great. Thanks for that, Anton. Finally, I wondered if you could just briefly describe the type of people, their job type, that would be most relevant, or the people who should. Because bearing in mind that it's free and it's online, it would probably be a good idea if you could describe the people that should register to attend, because they would find it useful either now or in the future in their careers.
Well, since the plastic recycling is such a hot topic nowadays, I would recommend joining this session to many people of different disciplines and also from different fields. So definitely this is relevant for industrial researchers. Well, we will mainly be talking about analytical tools, so that is definitely of great interest for analytical scientists. But I would also look at it more broadly, because the topic is so relevant, and I think it's great to also it would be also very useful for people of other functions. So definitely people from academia, researchers that are busy with recycling topic as well, but definitely also students, so the students can get a good understanding what's going on in the plastic world and in the other fields next to it. Since we do this online this year, I think that gives a possibility to for people from all over the world to connect to our event and follow the presentation. So I think I would recommend joining many different researchers, both industrial and academic, as well as people from regulations, governmental agencies, and so profiles like that. And
And probably we should also mention companies that provide analytical services. Of course, people involved with method development and that kind of thing would all find this useful. I should probably also mention a little bit about the platform that the event will be run on at this stage. It will be obviously online, and people will be able to register at the PEFTEC website. In fact, they can register now. There's no cost for that. Once they're registered, at some point quite soon, they will be provided with access to the list of people who have also registered. So there will be an opportunity for networking or matchmaking. And so the way that will work is if you see somebody who you'd like to have a conversation with or to ask some questions, then you can send a connection request to them, and they will then have the opportunity to decide, a bit like a dating website, they'll have the opportunity to decide whether to accept your request. And that will mean that's actually advantageous to speakers, because if they don't have enough time during the formal conference session to answer all of the questions, then people can still connect with them outside of the presentation or the question time, and they'll be able to answer those questions. And I should probably also mention that there's an enormous list of companies and organizations who are exhibiting, will have virtual booths at PEFTEC. And so if you're interested in a particular analytical technique, then there's probably a manufacturer of an instrument that does exactly that, that you could then go and have a chat with and say, well, this is what I want to do. What's your advice? And so you can set up meetings, virtual meetings with all of the exhibitors at the same time. So, and all in all, this looks like a really relevant, interesting session. Anton, thank you so much for chairing the session. I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you for spending the time to talk to us today.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.